there's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Evil Comic Book Guy.
No, excuse me. Good evening. Hello. Hi. I'm your host. Oh God.
I gotta get the manager.
Hi everybody. Welcome to me, West Coast Davengers, the guy. Try to get those shadows off of me. I know I'm tired, but I don't look as tired as the lights lead you to believe that I look. Just look at the lights in the back. Oh, what's that back there? Oh, look at all those copies of the Many More Faces of Jack Kirby by yours truly and Andrew P. CC. Look at him. Let's say hello to some friends while we hang out tonight and just talk comics. Get your candy here. Get your candy. Here's Derek Neiman. He's got popcorn. He's got Miller Lights. And, you got to give him some money. Hello there, Tyler. Evening, my friend. Tyler. Or whatever that is. How Mockery. Let's try that again. How Mockery. How are you? How are you? I'm well. It's good. It's a Wednesday. I don't have to jump around and sell comics and be on Welcome to Die. Welcome, bienvenido a Die. Die, Bart, die. It's German for the Bart, the. There better be cranberries or we riot. In your head, they're fighting. There you go. Got some cranberries. With their tanks, in their bombs, in their guns, in their bombs, in their... Geez, I'm torn between watching the stream and reading Savage Dragon. Whatever will I do? Listen to the stream while reading Savage Dragon, Punch and all that stuff. Good Eric Larson goodness. Because, there's not going to be much. I mean, like you've seen my face. That's about all you're looking at tonight. You tried to say Suo. Yeah, I got what I'm not going to talk about. Hello, Dan. Stand up. Sit down now. Please relax. Yes. I am the songbird of our generation. If that songbird was like a fucking pigeon eating garbage in the street of New York City, where I grew up. Andy Brinning is bringing Andy Brinning. Hello. You've got it. I scored a Tank Girl 1 1991 CGC for a great price the other day. Crack that shit out of the slab and read it. Or don't. It's your choice. It's your money. I'm not going to tell you how to do or what. Just forget it. With their taints and their balls and their guns. Rest in peace. No. Rest in peace, Dolores O'Riordan. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's well. It's February 12th, Wednesday. That's an alternate day, so I do not have to be selling books tonight. But I will talk about this and tell you that you should buy the new zine, The Many More Faces of Jack Kirby. Let's talk about. So these are almost all the remaining copies I have left of the second volume. The first volume, which is due to ship out to me by the end of this week, will be back here hopefully by mid next week, and I'll ship everybody's orders that ordered both zines. If you haven't bought a copy, they're $25 each for the first or second volume. Both $50 plus shipping. So if you want just the second volume, it's $30 shipped, and both volumes is $60 shipped. Portion of the proceeds go to the Jack Kirby Research Center and Foundation. The rest of it goes to me and Andrew to recoup our costs and make a tiny bit of profit. Very tiny bit of profit. Top of the evening to ya from Trip. Hello there, brother. And from the sexy Scottish Supreme, Jazzy Jamie Wood is in the house, fresh off working, doing his producer hosting guy in the chair duties of Ink Pulp Live, which just ended, and Ink Pulp Live was fantastic with Eric Talbot, and that was with Jim Mahfood and Sean Crystal, and watched them draw for 2 hours. It was amazing. Speaking of somebody ruining their rep, Kazra, you don't have a rep to ruin, so got him. How you doing, brother? If you haven't watched my OAX video, what the hell are you waiting for? What the hell are you waiting for? After me, there could be no more. So for one last time, I need y'all to raw. Anyway, I'm not who you know better than this. Riddle me that. The rest of you can't know where I'm lyrically at. Anyway, I'm not Jay-Z. I just play him on TV. I'm the white Jay-Z. Speaking of rap, holy shit, what a statement at the Super Bowl halftime show by Kendrick Lamar. You remember when, do you guys remember when Drake was still alive? Anyway. Yeah, well, too late. Couple of cool things to talk about tonight, but let's finish talking about this. I have more of the glossy version still available, but there are some mattes still available. Unfortunately, I think maybe I have one or two of the prints from Matt Ritchie left. I sold almost 50 copies already. So get on it if you want one. The easiest way to get one is hit me up on my website, send me a message, tell me what you want. First volume, second volume, both, whatever. Make sure you check your replies. I've had a bunch of people hit me up about them, and I'm like, here's the payment info, and silence. It's like, why are you hitting me up that you want to buy something that you clearly don't want to buy? It's very, very, very strange. I can sing some. You don't want to hear me hit the she's running out. Anyway, I won't ruin Tom York, although I do love me some Tom York. And honestly, let's be honest here. Pablo Honey is their least, is like the lowest of their albums. That's saying that still better than most other bands' outputs. But that was them getting their foot in the door and being like, hey, we can do this alternative stuff. And then they do the bends, and then they were like, okay, guys, let's put out OK Computer. And it was just like one of the greatest bands of all time, hands down. I get it. Some people are like, I don't get Radiohead. I understand that, but I don't agree with you. So yes, many faces of Jack Kirby, many more faces of Jack Kirby. And then who knows when we're going to reprint it. But like I said, we're down to about half the print run left, maybe even a little bit less, because there's a couple of people that, like I said, hit me up but didn't follow through with payment. I just have to bug them for it. Going to be showing off some cool stuff I got in the mail today from our pal Jeremy Hiler. But I think more importantly than anything else, today, Joe, aka the guy in my chair, and the guy in he's not my chair, he's in a chair. Anyway, me and Joe had our first meeting about Davengercon, which is happening April 5th and 6th, and I'll explain it to the new people here what Davengercon is. But we got the logo, friends. We got the logo. Davengercon 2025 coming at you April 5th and 6th. Except this is Davengercon from the future. And I'm not going to say too much more about what this logo means or what it's going to entail. We've got two different colors. Let's look at the other one real quick. How do I close this one and then share the other one? In the year 2000. And there's the other one. Feel free to chime in which color you like better. We may do stickers of each color, or we might do stickers of just one color and then use the logos, switching off, use the logo, during the broadcast and for the promo material and stuff. But anyway, April 5th and 6th, 2-day online Comic-Con that is happening right here on this channel. And, there's going to be guest sellers, only 2 this year. I can announce that as long as it works out time difference wise, Sean, aka Japan Book Hunter, will be back on, and Cheddar Comics. Those are my 2 guest sellers this year. I'll show it again in a minute, Dan. Hell yeah. Yeah, me on a Tron bike. Actually, I'll just be the Tron bike and somebody will be riding me. I don't know. That's kind of weird, but whatever. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it does. I get it. But I like both. I like both. I like big logos, and I cannot lie. All right, let's show the first one again. So guest sellers, two guest sellers. I don't want to say the other surprises that we have in store because they aren't 100% confirmed yet. But I can at least say we're going to have another live drawing session. I've got commitments from everybody's coming back from last year, and then maybe one or two others. So definitely, you got Jeremy Hiler, you got Rob McCallum, you got Gabby and Vlad and Adrian, actual Dracula, and there'll be more revealed. I'm working on getting a new charity. It's going to be new charity, one charity this year. I put out an email to somebody about it, and we'll see what happens. And then I've got some, really good ideas. But for the people that don't know, and I don't, I don't know all the people that are in here right now. 2-day Comic-Con. I'm going to do 4 different times during the weekend that I'm going to be selling. I'm going to be opening both days with sales and closing both days. Knights of Old in the house. What's up, brother? And so I'm going to have a whole bunch of stuff for sale, obviously. The charity raffle will be stuff that's donated, original art and comics, and it's going to support a charity. You can buy the tickets before the weekend because I'll be advertising it. You don't have to be there to win the prize. We do the drawing for the charity raffle at the end of the weekend on Sunday night. And guest sellers, and just, last year, and I don't think I talked about it too much pointedly, but last year, Ed Pisker died a week before Davengercon, and I almost didn't go through with it. It was a real rough week, obviously. And I ended up doing it, and, the original guests that I had couldn't make it because they were going to the memorial. And so I ended up getting, we had Derek Kirk Kim, and then we had Eric Larson and Matt Wagner. And Joe, who ended up, producing it with me, he was with me doing the stuff on the computer while I was live. We pulled it off, and it was great. This year, it's just, we're going to try some new stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. And it's my way of saying, look, we all live all over the country, right? All over the world. And what's up, Flush? And, comic conventions these days, even the ones that are great, Heroes or Baltimore or OAX or, the ones that are based in just non-pop culture shit, you can go to them, but it is hella expensive. Like, if you want to go to New York Comic Con, even if you live in New York, you're talking at I don't know, $200-something ticket for the weekend. You're talking about food that's priced like a sporting event. And then, you're talking long lines and all that stuff. Now, I can't provide the complete experience of going to a Comic-Con, but what I can provide is multiple sellers, fun panels or live drawings, a way to support charity and get cool shit. And you don't have to pay a dime to join the con. You can buy stuff that's optional, but there is no ticket. I put the cost for this. I'm paying Joe. I'm going to be paying for stickers, and we'll do a lot of cool free giveaways and stuff like that. So I just want to build a space that you don't have to leave your house to go to a Comic-Con. You can have kind of a similar experience, and maybe one day it turns into a physical con. But man, after getting to know some people that book cons and build their own cons, it's just so much work. And it's not that I don't want to do it with a team of people. It's just this channel is curated to my standards, and I have to keep everything on this channel to what I want. So and I'm excited to bring this to you. And I'm telling you, it's February 12th, and we're talking less than 2 months away. You're not going to see me that much after April 6th. I will probably take 2 to 3 weeks off. But I will say, just like the first year and like the second year, I'll be shipping and billing and doing all the back end work for 5 or 6 days after the con. What's up, Ralph? Exactly, Derek. All of the con with none of the BO. No lines, no fully grown men acting like children trying to get exclusives and then going on whatnot and claiming, I only have 2 of these. And yet they have 15 or 20. Thinking about all the money that you spent on those green lights, it's not just the green lights. It's also, I have to have an app. Listen there, Casper. We all know that you did a good job at OAX. But according to the one dude in my Facebook comments, that the reason why I'm biased is because we're friends. And I'm like, well, not exactly. The green lights are great. They're great. They bring out the color of my white beard. What up, Steve? So, obviously I'm going to take some big swings at getting guests, certain guests at Davengercon, but I'm happy just doing it who I can get. I'm not going to be upset if, the ghost of Jack Kirby doesn't want to appear in my Comic-Con because, I'm dead. So anyway, April 5th and 6th, mark your calendars. Tell your kids, tell your wives, get the hell out of the house or leave me alone. But can I wait in line for several hours for a Davengercon exclusive from someone named Jeremy Darjeeling? Maybe. Wait, I have more than 2 copies? When green turns red, it's sexy comics time. Oh, yeah. Steve is super approachable. Get the dudes. Oh, Steve Rude. I'll be there. Don't worry. Thank you, Tyler. So the first Davengercon and the second Davengercon, I had guests that I had never talked to before, which is cool, but also having people I've never had on the channel before in a live setting, it's not my favorite thing to do. I actually like to try and know that I already have a repertoire with the person, Darjeeling Limited. That's a great movie. I love that movie. For a long time, I had said that was my favorite Wes Anderson movie after oh my God. What was the second one? After Bottle Rocket, before the first one with Schwartzman. God, I can't remember. Max, what's his name? Oh, it's in that goddamn name too. Anyway, yeah. Also, people need to promote it. Well, Tyler, we've taken care of that this year. Ooh, Deadwood's a great show. Rushmore, thank you, Kazra. Thank you. Yeah, Rushmore is still always going to be my favorite Wes Anderson movie. And I love Darjeeling, but I think after I had watched Tenenbaums enough times, I really put that as my number 2. And then whatchamacallit, Grand Budapest is also a great one. Yeah, Royal Tenenbaums has such a, it's the first time I saw it, I don't think I was ready to be a kind of feel what that movie's supposed to make you feel. And then like the second and third, and every time I watched it after that, it definitely did. Speaking of movies, thanks to everybody that chimed into the comments of the last week's direct edition episode about their comfort movies. Some of you I got to mention on this week's podcast, and then some of those things came after. And thanks for all the support for direct edition. Kazra, I've shaved my head listening to that song because of that movie, like 15 years ago. I think a Toy Story when Buzz is like sucking down Charlie. I've only seen Toy Story like once or twice, so that line doesn't resonate with me, but I love that. Yeah. Well, any moment you play an Elliott Smith song in a movie is amazing. Can we see? No, the con only has 2 sellers, and it's 2 sellers besides me, and that's Cheddar Comics and Sean. There's multiple reasons for that, but like I said, because I curate this channel, it's just got to be done the way I want it. It's not a con where people could sell other than the people that I bring on the channel, and for multiple reasons, but that's just the way I want it. Yeah, it's got that feeling to it. One of the things is, like, I used to have a Discord, but I nuked the Discord because it was dormant for like 4 months, and I'm like, less of me out there, I'm the happier I am. And you know, a bunch of people wanted to do like a buy sell trade thing in the Discord, and I didn't want that because I don't want to be responsible, and I'm not saying this of any single person. This is not accusatory of a person that I ever had any problem with or this happened with, but I don't want to be responsible if somebody fucks somebody else over. Like, I don't want my name associated with a bad transaction. And you know, that's exactly why I curate everything that happens on this channel, because I've let enough people come on this channel and use this as a, you know, like as their mouthpiece, only to have them stab me in the back. Rip the Discord. Hey, rest in peace, the Discord. It's in the ground with Drake. Are you also going to have walls of Funko Pops that no one buys the TrueCon experience? Maybe what we'll do is we'll blow a Funko Pop up. I'll buy one of those 12-inch Funko Pops, and I'll get like a Blockbuster, because they do sell fireworks here in the state, and I'll blow that shit up in my backyard. The dreaded millions of pops. Yeah. The only thing, okay, here's the thing. I went to the Funko Pop store the flagship store, because it's in Edmonds or Everett. It's north of Seattle, because they're a Seattle-based company. And it was like, from a subject, like just saying like, oh, if I was a kid, this would be fascinating. It's like FAO Schwartz, but it's all Funko Pops. But then you look at Funko Pops and you're like, oh, they're just slapping a new paint job on the same mold. The only cool thing I thought was like, oh, they made a Black Phillip Funko Pop, the goat from The Witch. Black Phillip, Black Phillip. Walls of books with 2021 prices. Dude, that's what I'll do, Derek. I'll make everything will be 2021 prices. Will it blend followed by a fridge tour? Oh, Jesus. Oranga would be fun for Davengercon. I love Oranga. Actually, I've been talking to him, so that could be maybe. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for the suggestion, Kaiser. Fuck no. If you don't get a new fridge tour, we riot. Listen, Tyler and Flush, you're going to get a fridge tour when you guys pay me to give you a fridge tour. Nothing is for free anymore. The fact that I bring weekly episodes and all this stuff, that's the free content. But this is like only fridge. You know, you don't get the fridge tour without the money. Yeah, that was a legendary stream. Speaking of OnlyFans, I don't have one yet, but I do want to show off something huge and awesome that came in the mail today. But let me get his website up so I can make you guys go spend money on his comics and art. All right. We're going to put his link in the bio, and then we're going to, or in the thing. Okay, so we all know, good friend of the channel and amazing artist, Jeremy Hiler, sent me a package today. And Jeremy gifted me for my birthday, like a belated birthday present, an amazing Jaws piece of art. You remember the Jar Jar Binks piece that he did, the Darth Jar Jar? Well, he knows this, you know, we share a favorite film, and he did this piece for me of Roy Scheider at the end, "Smile, you son of a bitch," on the mast of the orca. So this was, and you can get commissions from him on his website, or if you're going to IC3, which is happening March. Kazra, what day is it? March 13th in New Haven, Connecticut. It's like 300 indie artists. You can pre-buy a commission from Jeremy. He is an amazing artist. But what I want to show you, and these are available still on his website, he put together his his Batman books, his Batman seasons. There are 4 of them in a trade paperback, but it's on like a, you know, matte finish paper. IC3 is March 15, New Haven, and 170 exhibitors. I changed the numbers. That's all. Yeah. So this is his bootlegs collected in a trade paperback, and he's the best. And so I did get a couple copies from him. I don't know if I'm going to do a giveaway tonight, but if I do, it'll be later. He signed them all, Year None, and yours truly, along with Food One, Jim of Food. We have pull quotes on the back and inside cover. I'll read my quotes, which, you know, I've never written a pull quote before. Okay, first off, never written anything like that. The real absolute Batman, exactly. And I can't tell. I spent an hour writing this because I was like, no, this doesn't sound good. No. So I wrote, Batman Year None is a triumphant showcase of powerful and emotional storytelling through art. Jeremy proves that you don't need dialogue to tell great stories, which it's got some narration in it, but there is no dialogue in this. And it's 4 books, 4 seasons. It's a beautiful piece of art. It's a beautiful showcase to show the big two that they can have amazing creators do books for them. But Jeremy's currently working on a creator-owned piece, a comic that he had just showed off on Instagram. God, I forget the name of it. But anyway, go to jeremyhiler.com, get a commission, support him. He is one of the hardest working people, period. End of story. He put out 8 books last year. He did the 4 Batman, the Godzilla, the Splinter, and the comic about his grandfather. I think it's his grandfather. Yeah, his grandfather. With, you know, it's a book about his dementia, which I've experienced it firsthand. My uncle has dementia, Alzheimer's. It's absolutely terrible to see. But yeah, Jeremy is one hell of a creator. So please support him. Pick up that Batman book. I swear you will not regret it. I mean, why would you? It's a comic book. I am not Batman. So yeah, so that came in the mail today. And if I don't do a giveaway for that this week, I'll do one probably during the next sale or something like that. Yeah, I'd love to see people. Yeah, Jeremy. So Jeremy Flush, I met Jeremy through the King K-Faber chat, and then you know, I had him on Davengercon and all that stuff, but I met him last year. We finally met in person at HeroesCon, and it's just a great dude. He used to work in TV editing and all this, or, you know, he's worked in the entertainment industry for a long time, filmmaking and writing and editing. So Jeremy is one great person out of a sea of great people that are going to be at IC3. So if you're in the Northeast, like Kazar said, it's March 15th, New Haven. It's a one-day only show. That's why I'm not going, because I've just got such a crazy schedule that, like, flying out to the East Coast for one day is a little tough for me, or for a one-day show. You know, for example, and I'm not going to say who it is, but tomorrow I have a interview for Direct Edition in the morning. It's a musical hero of mine and somebody I'm really excited to talk to. And then next week, I'm recording with Sean Crystal for the podcast. And then in 2 weeks, I'm recording with Sanford Green. So I'm just trying to push along with the interviews while doing the comic sales. And Davengercon's going to be super busy. So I'll be spending most of March planning for that and just working for that. If anybody's going to be at Emerald City, I'll be there on the Thursday, the first day of the con. And then I may go down to the Frankenstein Comic Swap in mid-March in Portland. So, you know, if you're there and you see me, say hello or walk up to me, sing the theme song, and we'll kiss. I mean, I'll give you a pin or something. This weekend, man, you want to talk about kissing somebody. Let me introduce you to the best kisser in the comic community. East Bay Comics Angel, I love you. IC3 is a Friday night drink and draw, Saturday show, Saturday night after party. So more like a 2-day show unless you hook up, and then it's at least 2 days. So see, Kazra can give us all the information because he's helping to facilitate the show along with Matthew Sardo and some other great gents that I met at OAX, but they were all, Sorry, I don't remember their names, but they don't watch this channel anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know how tapped out I've been in that direct edition Pisker up was a tough one. Well, I appreciate that, Flush. And you know, it's something I needed to do, and I still always want to talk about Ed. Obviously, this is never going to stop me, you know, paying tribute to Ed and talking about Jim. Speaking of, Jim Rugg just put out 2 new zines, a Ken Landgraf one and a Street Angel Process one. But yeah, I appreciate that, Flush. Love you too. Yeah, direct edition is like, it's weird to say this because this is always going to be my main focus when it comes to comics, is this channel and keeping this community here. But I foresee direct edition being maybe my career forward as it comes to like growing something beyond just like a little community, like really growing the podcast into an interview podcast. So yeah. Well, I'm glad you listened to it. Yeah. Jim's going to be there. Is Shioli going to be there too? A lot of great creators are going to be there. Wait, you didn't know? Oh, all right. Well, Flush, we could talk about that at some point. Yeah, sub up, everybody. Sub up. And so this week's episode of Direct Edition, I caught up, kind of talked about fandom. I talked about OAX. I talked about talking to idiots in the comment section. So a lot of fun stuff in the most recent episode entitled A Dave in Dark Times, because currently, what's up, Bob? We're all doing good. Because currently, I don't know, man. Anybody who thinks that things are normal right now might be sleeping too much. Oh, that's right. Okay, Landgraf's going to be at IC3. Damn. Lots of good people going to be there. So get there, folks, if you're in the East Coast. New Haven is just, let's see, I used to drive up to New Haven to go see the Beast, right? With the Beast. New Haven's like an hour drive from Long Island. It's like, it's real close to pretty much everywhere. Hartford, not too far from Boston. You know, all the major East Coast cities aren't far. They're mostly a drive. And right, Tom is going to be there. Everyone is going to IC3 but me. Well, you know, maybe if you did a con somewhere west of the Mississippi, it'd be easier for me to get there often. IC3. You know, it's funny. And this is not, I'm not trying to fuck with, with Kazra, but for all of the publishers and all of the comic creators that live just in the Northwest, nobody does a good job of putting together a really good Comic-Con out here. And I mean, I'm sure there used to be back when, you know, Comic-Cons were a little bit more comic centric, but you would think between all the creators that live in Portland and south of Portland, like, you know, Allred, and all the creators that live north of Portland, like in Tacoma, like Peter Bagg or Seattle, you would think, shit, Gary Larson lives in Seattle. I mean, not that he's in the public eye or anything, but yeah, seriously, Bob, right? That's right, Dr. Plagueis. Jacob, drop your channel name in there so people could sub up, because it's paper and plastic or plastic and paper. Or, I'm sorry, don't hurt me. I love you. But anyway, you would think that somebody would get like it doesn't even have to be, it could be like an IC3 where there's like indie creators, and, you know, because most of the comic creators that live in the Northwest work in indie publishing. I mean, just look at Becky Cloonan and Eric Powell. They share a studio in Portland, and Michael Conrad also, who's lives, you know, is Becky's partner. Like, the three of them are indie creators. Peter Bagg, indie creator. Like, how come we don't have an indie Comic-Con in the Northwest? Somebody explain that to me with realistic explanations. Because it would be nice. And I'm not going to be the one who puts it on. I'm not built to just put on a con that isn't in this room. IC3 2026 or 2027 Pacific Northwest watch with Dave as producer. I mean, I will be the curator, but I'm not. I used to be in logistics. I used to work in events, and it's Kazra, I feel for you, man, because I know how exhausting it is. I used to coordinate auctions for charity events, and that was enough. No. That's right. Elite Comics is having their first one in Queens. Yeah, yeah. It's like at a school or maybe Queens College or something like that. I saw that. But Elite Comics is what they're doing is they're embracing the secondary market selling, which is what I do, and I appreciate that. But what IC3 is doing, what Eddie Pecan did, they're putting the artists and creators first and foremost. That's right. West Coast IC3, presented by Davengercon. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah, we pray. We've got to pray just to make it today. MC Hammer for you. It's duct tape and zip ties. Oh, wait, wrong channel. I could totally do it. Surely I don't have much going on right now. JLS Comics, what's up? Razor Ramen in the house. Cape and CalCon has been pretty great. Yeah, I love what Aton has put on with Cape and CalCon. Last year, Dave Correa was an exhibitor there. Wayshak was an exhibitor there. Derek Kim was there. So, although somehow they let Raymond Villalobos be there, and I think that guy should be hit with a shovel. But that's not me who's telling you to do that. It's always felt like East Coast put on the awesome cons. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, Bob. I mean, I grew up there, and I used to love going to the smaller cons, and I used to love going to Big Apple Con. Man, Big Apple Con was the shit. Like, I met Frank Miller there twice. I remember when Adam Hughes was there, and like nobody was going up to his table, and like Teixeira was like, yeah, I miss those days. Do you want to get some eyes on Super Jersey Comic Expo? They had to take 2024 off due to getting screwed to the venue. 2023 had put in the free con end of April. Okay, there you go. There you go. Super Jersey Con. Right there. Paper and Plastic Show. Sub up every. There he is. Dr. Plagueis and his friend, whose name I don't know. I'm a bad person. It's just circle the wagons right now for most Comic Cons. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm going to Heroes this year. I last 2 years I've done table at Washington State SummerCon, but this year they said, we're just going to do it the same weekend as Heroes. Why? Anyway. Small press indie show in Seattle. Yeah, short run. But you know what the thing is with short run? It's in such a hard location for anybody that doesn't live in Seattle. Like, I don't want to drive and park near Seattle Center on a weekend. No fucking thank you. I used to live around the corner from there, but that is not welcoming to people who are coming from out of town. Yes, Big Apple Con was the shit. I used to, what's his name? Mike. He was at, where did I see him? Was he at OAX last year? I think he was. Anyway, yeah, Big Apple Con was the shit. Well, Flush, you go to Frankenstein Comic Swap. I think it's at the mall. I think it's at Lloyd Center, March. I want to say it's the weekend of the 13th. That's who I was talking about, Derek. Mike Carbo. That man's a maniac. When I used to go to Big Apple Con back in whenever Sin City, the movie came out, so it would have been, 2003, 4, and 5. That dude dressed up as the Joker. He was insane, but he reminded me of everybody that ever worked in the card and comic con circuit in New York. And all I remember is like, oh, that dude's just all fucking coked out of his mind, even if he wasn't. Is Frank Miller cool to meet? I mean, I think he's good now, but his people maybe not. But Frank was always nice. I met him, like I said, I met him the year before Sin City, the movie came out. And I want to say I met him the year that Sin City came out. And he was super nice. I have a couple photos with him. I probably at one point had 25 things signed by him. And I would just kind of sold all of them off one by one. But yeah, it was always super nice. Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I don't love crowds like I used to, especially like, and it's not because of COVID, but it was the fact that I traveled for work and worked events, and then COVID ended that, and like taking a 2-year break from that lifestyle made me sit and reflect. I don't like that. It's not my thing. And it never really was. It was just my job. I haven't felt the same about con since the pandemic broke me. Yep. No, it's so funny, JLS. I didn't see your comment at all. And we're saying exactly the same thing. So, yeah. Yeah, so there you go, Dan. Dan met him a year ago, said he was nice. There you go. Mike was at OAX. Yeah, okay. I do remember seeing him there. He is quite the personality, 100%. Short run's going to be in Soto or Georgetown this year. All right, Brandon. Well, you'll see me there. Because, I live in Tacoma, so it's not that far. But it's that barrier of like getting to Soto or Georgetown and not going north just saves me so much aggravation. Didn't know IC3 was IC3. IC3 was a thing. Actually, might go and do that. Dude, you should. You should, Sam. I know it's not close to the middle of the country where you live, but it's going to be awesome. It's only their second year doing it, I believe. Vigil and David Quinn were at Cape Cal. Speaking of that, Vigil's going to be at Emerald City Comic Con, so I'll go talk to him and maybe talk to Jeff Darrow. It depends. Jeff Darrow might hate me now. Might have made him angry on Facebook today. Oops. Do we just become best friends? Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing. I still go to shows every once in a while. Like I will go to a big show. I mean, since the pandemic, I've seen 3 Pearl Jam shows, and I went to Jack White at a small venue this past year. I don't love it as much as I used to, but I'll make my sacrifices. Traveling. See, I didn't mind going to Tokyo Comic Con because it didn't feel like it was super crowded, even though it was. And when I'm traveling, I don't know, man. It's just like crowds in America. I think it's a crowds in America thing. Sam, if you don't go to IC3, Eddie P is 2 days this year. That's right. Had the exact opposite reaction returning to cons post-COVID. Just could not wait to dig through shoulder. And cheesier, I totally get that. I totally get that because when lockdown broke the first time, I went and flew to New York to go see the Foo Fighters at Madison Square Garden. And it was the first show I had been to in whatever it was, like a year and change. And it felt so good to be with 20,000 or whatever, 18,000 other people and just fucking like letting loose, whether it was, GA on the floor or just, whatever, but it just felt good to be shoulder to shoulder people. But I used to be going to events for work or for pleasure, like I'd be on a plane every 2 weeks, or I'd be, when I lived in New York, a concert every 3 days. And that life is just not for me anymore. And also the fact that I work and own this business, so I'm more invested in that than, being out. In the Midwest, we basically got nothing. Indianapolis, okay, 3-hour drive. Evansville, Indiana. You know what, Bob? There is an Alex Ross art show. I don't think it's been announced yet, but he is doing a gallery show outside of Chicago this year. You should keep an eye on his website and go to that. Yeah, right, Derek. Well, it was Jeff Darrow. Derek, I chose violence against the Mark Spears thing yesterday, and it maybe backfired on me. Oh, I just commented on Mark Spears art rep selling one of one original art prints for upwards of $2,500, and I made a post about it, and he chimed in, and it was really hard to tell if he was angry at me or just angry in general. I wish more concerts came to Alberta and Canada. Yeah. Most bands have to be doing like a full-on Canadian tour to play Calgary. Because Vancouver, I am going up to Vancouver to see Nine Inch Nails this year. But yeah, I've seen only bands really in Eastern Canada and in very Western Canada, being Vancouver. Cake. Oh yeah, Cake is like a sister kind of like to IC3 and that type of show, right? Yeah, I kind of want to go to see the Alex Ross gallery show. If it's new stuff, I haven't seen his art in person in like 15 years because he used to he used to go to cons and be in his monster booth. And he used to have art there. Now it's more like he's got the guy that runs his business. Have you thought about Seoul PopCon? JLS, I haven't. I would like to go to South Korea. But I'm planning on going back to Japan at the end of this year, November, December. So I can't swing. I ain't got that kind of cash where I could swing South Korea in September and then go back to Asia a couple months later. Getting tour merch across the border yes, it is. Even for smaller act, Dan. I'm sure you know that. I have friends with a band called the Twilight Sad from Scotland. And they are Robert Smith's favorite band, and they have gotten taken out to 3 tours now, opening up for The Cure, and hopefully that'll happen again whenever they tour for this new album. But when I lived in Seattle, they were going up to Canada for a show, and they dropped off like 4 boxes of merch with me at my apartment because they were coming back. Because they said the same thing, like it's just a hassle. You know what, George? It was. It really was. Like, it could have been the fact that I hadn't had like American or like, North American style bacon for those couple of weeks before it. But I've had egg slut in LA, and I would say it's just as good, if not better. Probably better because the food over in Japan is just tastier because they don't put shit in everything. Oh, CXC. That's right. CXC is in Columbus. Minneapolis has SpringCon and FallCon. Those are amazing. They're like so simple, and like those are great names just for being SpringCon and FallCon. I think a lot of people say, like, I think Mahfood has said that Planet Comic Con is great. I know he's doing it with Sean Crystal. I know Palmiotti always talks about that. He's talked about that one before too, which is in St. Louis, obviously, Kansas City. South Korea, you know what, Tyler? A lot of people say that South Korea is great, and I can't say that I know anything about it other than that. So it's definitely, if I do go deep and keep going back to Japan on a yearly basis, then I will, and I'll try and line up the trip if Scheme's going to be there, because Scheme talks about how good South Korea is. I mean, that's where him and Eddie first hung out, I think. Never been to the one, but had a good laugh. Yeah. I mean, I remember hearing about Egg Slut for the first time in LA, and I laughed my ass off that was the name of it. Let's see, Sam. We printed the sample books, I would say, like, all in all, a month, give or take, maybe 6 weeks at most. Still waiting for the volume ones though, but we know what those are going to look like. No, Tony, I'm like a third, close to half paid on it. So I just gotta, I don't, the whole thing was, it was like, with everything going on right now, I was just scared that like people weren't going to buy stuff anymore. So I was like, I don't want to blow all that money in one chunk. I imagine I'll have that stuff by the end of next month. A Korea move. Yeah, I really, really would like to go to Korea. Dave, you can visit Bob Layton in Seoul and hang out at the biggest comic shop in the country run by my friend. Oh, I didn't even know. I knew that Bob lived there, but I didn't know that there is a big comic shop there, and that, yeah, I would definitely connect with Bob. I didn't get to see Bob at Tokyo Comic Con because he wasn't there the day I was there, and then totally have not really talked to him at all at OAX. OAX was great, but I need 2 of me, or I need somebody to film me so I don't have to think about what I'm filming, and then I can go talk to everybody. What's your dream book that almost but never actually came out? Mine's probably All-Star Batman and Robin Meyer. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if there is one. I mean, I feel like there is an Eric Larson book that he talked about that. I would have liked to seen Eric do a full Nova Corps, like a Nova book, but that never happened when he originally did it. But I don't know. I would like to see Kevin Smith and Glenn Fabry finish Daredevil Bullseye, but that never happened either because the first issue was good. Cool. Awesome. Well, Tyler, another person approves of Seoul, South Korea. I almost said Seoul, Korea, South Korea, but it's, Bob is a great guy, one of the favorites. Yeah, he's a really interesting character, and I like. And the thing I like about Bob Layton is that however old he is, his 60s or early 70s or whatever, his chops are still as good. Like, he has not lost any drawing ability, it seems. And his coloring's great too. Dyson Comics Cafe. Okay. 11 pages of Adam's All-Star. I bet. So was this the All-Star Batman that Jim Lee eventually did, or is this the one when Scott Snyder came in with that gaggle of people and I read like the first 2 issues and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this book. So far, there's been 2 All-Star Batmans and neither of them have hit. Man Bat. He is still razor sharp, yeah. That'd be interesting, Derek. The thing is I probably would never I'd never leave. I'd go in there. So far, there's only 2 people that I can recollect that have been to North Korea that have come back. And one of them is Dennis Rodman, and Damon Albarn, lead singer of Blur and Gorillaz. He's been in North Korea. Mr. Collector's in the house. He's got that. Yes, he definitely does. He definitely does. Yeah, exactly. Yes, please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. Jim Lee, but Loeb is still writing this out the time, and it was supposed to be Lee for one. Oh, I didn't realize that. Did they ever actually? They didn't finish that either, or was that finished? I clocked out after like issue 3. The greatest thing about All-Star Batman and Robin, that Jim Lee one, is Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor going through those, and then like issue 2, I think, is when Jim loses his shit. And you can find that clip on my Instagram stories in the Kayfabe Forever thing. It is still the greatest thing that they ever did. Because I think Ed knew that Jim hated that book, and he just let him rip. All titles are glorious later. Kim Jong Avengers. I don't know if he's the most important part, but I love that he was part of the NWO. Also, he's a big Pearl Jam fan. Dear Leader Con, the North Korea Comic Convention. A lot of people will go to Da Nang it's Dandong. Okay, China, because you could see over the water to North Korea. Interesting. I mean, I feel bad for the people of North Korea, but I don't want to see that. Yeah, Jim losing it was like the greatest thing ever. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Steranko's History of Comics, 2 volumes of 6 plan. That's right. I have those 2 volumes, and I know, yeah, it was supposed to be 6. That would be fun to see that get finished. But at this point, Jim Steranko, here's 2 things about Jim Steranko. He's a lunatic, and I won't even go into that part of it, like his political stuff. But the problem is that it's hard to really understand when Steranko is telling the truth or his tall fables. You know what? Jim Steranko is the conservative version of Ewan McGregor in Big Fish. He's the conservative version, like the right-wing conservative version of what Big Fish is. Tick 12 is up there. I didn't know that was an unfinished thing also. That's something I don't know about. Like, Chris, you in here, Comic Tropes? Did you ever do an unfinished comics episode? If so, please let me know. I'll watch it today. Oh, speaking of our friend Chris Piers, aka Comic Tropes, if you what's the number? If you order books from your LCS, get them to order the next issue of Radiant Black. I think it's 32. Chris has a 1-page backup in that issue of Radiant Black. I ordered 3 for my LCS. I'm going to get Chris to sign them all, and I'll give away 2 of them on the channel. 32. Okay, it is 32. Yeah. I saw Chris today, and I hung out with Chris. I had coffee with him, and it was great. I love hanging out with Chris. I wonder if Steranko's story about punching Kane in the face is true or embellished. Maybe that's why Bob Kane. Yeah, I actually, you're right. I know that story, and I wonder if it's true too. I was thinking about Gil Kane. Steranko's story with the dude from Panagraphics. Oh, with Gary Groth. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he's got all these stories, and who knows if most or any of them are true. Dude, I reread the Tick first trade probably mid last year, and I had read it when I was younger. It was the first time I remember reading the Tick, and I remember it being the first time that a comic had made me laugh, not just out loud, but laugh a lot. If you've never read the original Tick run, or just like all of Ben Edlund's run on it and everything he did with all the different side characters, that shit is so funny. Man Eating Cow is hilarious. John Byrne's Last Galactus story. Yeah. You know what? There's also Elsewhen, John Byrne's Elsewhen, which is what he would have done if he had continued on the X-Men. So there's a lot of John Byrne stuff. But yeah, I guess there's a lot I need to learn about unfinished comics because I just don't. I probably knew some of the stuff when I was younger, but I'm more of just like picking up stuff and reading it and then making, that's what I could talk about. Speaking of, I just finished reading the final issue of Chip Zdarsky and David Brothers' Time Waits, aka Tom Waits, and that was a fun book. If you like time, it's like if you like the concept of stuff like Time Cop, you'll enjoy that. I commissioned hardcover of Last Galactus and gave one to. Oh, sweet! I'll have to maybe check that out next time I'm in Pittsburgh, or if you bring yours, I'd like to see that. Tom Waits for No Man, exactly. Yeah, Tom Waits, and this is the Chip Zdarsky book. I did threaten Chip earlier this year that I was going to make a video of me reading Time Waits in the key of Tom Waits. Nope. Yeah, please no. Perfect 10 out of 10 movie. I saw John L. Sullivan. I fought John L. Sullivan himself. I watched Dyson beat Sphinx on TV. Love that movie. Same matter, can occupy the same space at the same time. Anyway, has anybody been watching Invincible? Because season 3's been fantastic. But let's just talk about how good the new Spider-Man cartoon is, because it's really good. It's fun. I mean, I'm not a kid, but I have the mentality of a 10-year-old, and I'm enjoying it. Didn't Byrne call McFarlane the toddler one time? Probably. Yeah, probably. John Byrne is the grumpiest man in comics of all time. And, whatever. You know what? People love John Byrne's art. I don't know anybody's ever said, I like John Byrne as a personality. Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been really, really fantastic. And it's just greatest superhero comic of my lifetime. And the show does real justice to it. Well, you should get back to it, Flush. Tom Waits for No Man. I haven't watched it, so I'll save judgment, but the trailer for that Spidey show looked rough. It's a cartoon. I mean, it's fun. It's a different take on Spidey. It feels like they really put some good thought into the script writing on it. I know some people don't like the animation. I've never had an opinion on animation I don't like. Like, I can enjoy any animation. I mean, shit. When the Batman the Animated Series came out as a kid, it was so wildly different from anything. And obviously we all loved it. So, it's, I don't ever get a bad vibe from animation. So it doesn't bother me, but I understand. I know some people that didn't like Invincible because of the animation. I had no problem with it. Yeah. That's exactly. Burn victims. Rubenstein gave Byrne for a run for his money, for like art wise or personality wise, what do you mean, Jacob? Oh no, totally. Like, Byrne for comics is amazing. Byrne's personality, not so amazing. He's a dick. Like a dick. Completely. I feel like nobody's ever had a good experience with him, or at least publicly. And I don't, doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I'm just stating how he comes off. That's all. Yeah, but Ghibli can't be everything, I mean, there is a small company called Disney that people seem to like that has been doing animation longer than pretty much everybody else in the game, right? Grumpy Wise. Oh, I see what you're saying. Jacob. Episode 6 of Penguin and barely getting through it. People loved it, but sadly it does nothing for me. I liked it a lot. I could watch Colin Farrell as the Penguin for 22 episodes. But, it's like there's a difference between what you're saying or what Cheesier was saying, like I'll save judgment or it's not for me. That's just stating your opinion. It's when people like just shit on stuff for no reason, or they shit on stuff to be the trendy person. Like that's where I'm just like, whatever. Cheesier, I can't say the same. There's a lot of there's a lot of comic people that I really like, and there's very few personalities that I don't like. And I love Todd's personality, obviously. I love Mike Allred, Dana Warner Johnson. I think Becky's got a great personality, Becky Cloonan. Like their outlook on the art form and the rest of it is just super inspiring to me. I think there's a lot of the older guard whose opinions I can't really jive with. But I like not even that. Like Claremont, I love listening to Claremont talk about comics and not falling into the like super grumpy. And he's like one of the nicest people to meet too. What up, Bill? Yes, yeah, exactly. Not for me is way different. Like for example, I'm trying to think of something that I didn't really enjoy. Here we go. Here's a great example. Most of everybody that I'm friends with really loved Fallout. And most of my friends that play that game love the show Fallout. I watched it. It just didn't do anything for me. I love Walter Goggins, but it wasn't interesting to me. I don't think it was shit at all. I think that, like the way it was put together, the world building, 10 out of 10, just not for me. Yeah. Who doesn't love Daniel Warren? First of all, Daniel Warren Johnson is a creator. Amazing, right? I just finally read Dead Earth, and it might be my favorite thing of his. It's dark. It's really dark. And I think because I'm enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman so much, I think reading Dead Earth is a nice kind of companion piece to it. It's his darkest story. But goddamn, he's amazing. And then you watch his live show, or I've gotten to interview him and talk to him. And it's like, man, this dude is not just awesome and humble and cares, but he's just a super nerd too. He basically, it feels like he's just somebody I could have been friends with for 30 years. Yeah, Walter Goggins is amazing in everything he does. I remember, I watched Justified as it was coming out. I'm like, I didn't know who he was. And then flash forward to Hateful Eight, and I'm like, yeah, this is a special guy. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I never played the game, and the show didn't do anything for me. I don't know, Andy. It's just that's the thing. Like, but I completely understand why everybody likes it. I 100% understand. It's just not my thing. It's just like Blade Runner. The first movie, I've seen it like 4 times. I've seen this cut and that cut. I understand it's beautiful. I understand it set the standard for a lot of things. And I still can never say I like Blade Runner, the original. I don't know. I never watched Gemstones. I probably should. You know what? I didn't watch it because I didn't love... I think I was watching Vice Principals and I didn't love that. And I just kind of never watched Gemstones for no reason. I don't know. I met him when all I had read was Transformers, but since then I read Murder Falcon, Powerbomb. Now there's a million things I need to gush. Dude, look, Powerbomb was the first thing I read about his. And then I just went down the rabbit hole. And yeah, 10 out of 10. Everything that he creates. Yeah. And the thing is, I love Danny McBride, but I think I got burnt out from McBride after Eastbound and Down. Yeah, well, not everybody can have great taste. You and Tyler can hang out and talk about how much you don't like Jaws. Not on this channel. Here, let's show off this great Jaws piece by Jeremy Hiler. Greatest movie of all time. And I won't take anything else but yes, Dave. Sorry, just never gonna happen. Yes, yeah, we watched him create the cover live on D-Dubs. He did. It's such a killer cover. It's like this. Let me see. Actually, I'll just pull it up right here for those of you who haven't seen it. It's like for Wolverine 400, and that's Dan's cover. So many Frank Miller vibes on it. And while he was creating it, while he was doing it on the channel, I said something about that, and he's like, "Yep." What's my favorite Jaws sequel? Oof, that's tough because they're all two is good. Two is good, but if we're gonna pick my favorite based on which one's the funniest, it's 4. First of all, Michael Caine had no clue that he was doing a Jaws movie. Second of all, they made the Jaws have like a modified Wilhelm scream. Yeah, it made no sense. Jaws in the Bahamas. Great white sharks don't go to. They're not warm. They're not Caribbean sharks. Yeah, Pacific sharks. Once again, I understand why everybody loves, and it just Blade Runner doesn't do anything for me. I won't. I'm gonna need a bigger moat. Yeah, the hair is so sick on Dan's Wolverine. Yes, and Eastbound and Down was like, oof, it was a right place, right time to have something so great like that. Nobody like McBride had come onto the scene, and I think, I wonder if John Rocker doesn't exist in the way that he existed if we don't, if we get Eastbound and Down the way we did. Oh man, Skywalker pages, yeah, dude. The self-published bootlegs that he's done, was it Green Leader, and the wrestling one, and yeah, that stuff is great. Come on, Bill, you knew deep in your heart of hearts what I was gonna say. What's my favorite Pearl Jam record? No Code. Fourth album, sorry. When I started listening to that record, I didn't love it as much as maybe 5 or 10 years later. It hit me probably in 2005 how much I love that album. And that's their best album. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the house that I bought my mother, and it's marvelous. Michael Caine on Jaws 4. Yep. Dude, and that's the thing. That's why it's so good, because it's so terrible, JLS. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. It's like, let's take the greatest, let's make the furthest thing from the first movie, and it's Jaws 4. Yeah, I feel like that character was loosely based off, just loosely based off of John Rocker. Favorite album is the one with the mumble lyrics. Oh, Dan, don't you? Eddie Vedder doesn't. Oh my God, it's all Adam Sandler's fault. I think my favorite D-Dubs piece is the Optimist Dougie. Yeah, that's a great piece. One of the commissions he did over the pandemic or after the pandemic ended up on Comic Link yesterday, and it was Catwoman choking Batman, and it's such a S&M piece, and he's talked about how he's I don't know if I should have done this, and I didn't see what it ended at, but yesterday with 10 hours to go, is it $23 or $100 or so? Kenny fucking Powers, baby. Is DWJ just doing a cover for Wolverine? No, he's doing a story. I think it's a short, maybe 8-page story. I think that's what it is. It might be longer, Paul, but I'm pretty sure it's a story. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I agree with both of those. Well, it's hard for me with Alien because they're two completely different movies, Alien and Aliens. And if I want the kind of artistic, great soundscape, great, terrifying version of Alien, I watched the first one, but if I want action, I watch Aliens. And Aliens was the first Alien movie I saw, so it holds a special place in my heart. Plus, I love Jim Cameron. So can't really say. I mean, I think Alien is the best Alien if we're looking at it from like a craft standpoint, like a technical, but I don't know if it's my favorite. Yes, tell me Catwoman. Yes, yeah. Terminator 1 is better than T2. I respectfully disagree, but that's because T2 was a movie I saw at, 12. And it had Guns N' Roses in it. But Terminator 1's great. So those are the hardest two, I think, to really talk about is Alien and Aliens and T1 and T2. Because T2 is such a groundbreaking movie beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like T2 and Jurassic Park change movies till now. Like those two movies don't exist with, ILM and all that stuff that they did. And Stan Winston, we're still feeling the effects of those two movies. Who wins in a fight, Ridley Scott or Jones? Ridley Scott, because Ridley Scott is vicious. He's a vicious human being. James Cameron's vicious too. Both of them have a really good vicious side to them. I never say ESPN is best movie because it's not a complete story. Yeah, but it is. Like to me, it's got the biggest turn, right, of plot, but it at like directorial standpoint, cinematography standpoint, I think it's the most beautiful of the original trilogy. Although, yeah, because the Vader versus Luke on Bespin, it's so beautiful, and they did a great job with the scene at the end of Jedi. But man, it's a treat it's a feast for the eyes. Aliens was an easier watch for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're asking, like, what's better, the best or the best? It's really tough. And it kind of feel like with Terminator, it's how old you were when you saw it. And I was born in 79, so I didn't see the first one till probably right before I saw the second one, if not right after. So that's why but like it's like picking, what's better, this great pizza or this great pizza. There he is. Here's my experience with The Godfather. I'm more of a Goodfellas guy. Once again, I'm a little bit younger than you, not by much, but my dad told me I should watch The Godfather when I was probably 12 or 13 because my parents didn't give a shit. My dad took me to see RoboCop, Die Hard, No, there was no, you can't watch this except scary stuff because my parents don't like scary movies. So I tried watching The Godfather when I was younger. I don't like Marlon Brando. Don't like him. Not my guy. I get it, but not really, especially in that fucking movie. That's what he sounds like. Pacino's absolutely fantastic. Jimmy Caan is, and what's his name that played Vito? I mean, not whatever. So I didn't like those movies, and I like the Scorsese gangster stuff. But I watched Godfather 1, 2, and 3 probably about 5 years ago, and I got it. I'm like, 1 and 2 are fantastic movies. Absolutely amazing movies. I still don't like Marlon Brando, but those movies, watching them as an older, like an adult, those movies are fucking fantastic. So that's that. Hello, Andrew. There he is. The guy who helped make this, who did all the design and really the best work. Yeah, and also the visual effects stuff. The visual effects stuff. We didn't have any. There was nothing like the T1000. Just the chase scene. When he picks John Connor up for the first time, puts him on the bike, and they do the chase scene through the LA River, and it's just amazing what they were doing. And like, you couldn't tell what was practical and what was not, except the T1000, but it looks so good. Plus, Guns N' Roses once again. Both originals are better flicks. Both sequels are more fun to watch, which is equally important. Bill, you've got a great point there. Yes, we already talked about it. Well, right. The summer blockbusters started with Jaws in 75. Without Jaws, and people talk about this, Spielberg opens the door, and then George Lucas kicks it down a couple years later. You get Raiders, you get all that good stuff. But T2 ushered in a new level of how much money movies were making in the summer. And that's really also one of the big things. Like, that movie grossed so much money at the time. Absolutely love Aliens, not just one of the best sequels, but also one of my favorite movies of all time. It's quotable as something like Army of Darkness. Hard agree on that. And also, they mostly come out at night. Mostly. Hell, the King, baby. You might be a little bit older than me, but I don't think, as much as like the originals are great, Fury Road, that movie is 100 out of 100. But, all right, Kazra, listen, Kazra. Yeah, I mean, I once again, like, I think it's also just depends on where you were in your life when you watch some of these movies, where, like, I'm not saying that Road Warrior is bad, but for me, Fury Road, although I will say this, listen, I know a lot of you didn't see Furiosa. Fury Road is a great movie. It is a video game, though. Go to point A to point B, back to point A. Furiosa is a great story, and that movie had story. Anaconda, the snake's out there that is big, deepest, bluest. My head is like a shark's fin. Hey, I hate this. Is just in Dave hates Jor-El. You got me. When was the first time you cried watching a movie? For me, it was Never Ending Story. You know the scene. Oh man. Well, first of all, let's talk about the scene in Labyrinth too. But I do know the scene you're talking about, the horse. Dude, I'm gonna get made fun of if I say this, but it's Forrest Gump. It's when he's at the grave and he's talking to Jenny and Jenny's dead. I lost it. Whatever. I was like 14 when I saw that movie or something, or 15. Mario Puzo wrote the first two Superman. Oh, that's right. That's right. He did. I forgot. I still don't like what's his name? Yeah. Neither. Die Hard 1. Die Hard 2 is great too. See, here's the thing, right? Like, I saw Apocalypse Now when I was in high school. I love Martin Sheen. I love Dennis Hopper. But as soon as they introduced Brando in that movie and like the end of that movie, I hated it. I don't know what it is about Marlon Brando that I don't like. I don't know. We have to add Mad Max 2 to the sequel talk. Mad Max 2 was the first one of the ones that I saw. So that would be my first Mad Max movie. Stupid horse. Touche. T2 did rate. Yeah. Whichever one Kevin Smith in it. Kevin Smith's in one of the Die Hard movies. Yes. Yeah. The story of the making of Fury Road is crazy. Is absolutely crazy. I almost just said George R.R. Martin. It's George. God, I almost just said, oh my God, I can't think of George Miller. There we go. Dude, Furiosa was so good. He should have been less sad. I didn't know. I think I did see Die Hard 4. It was terrible. Die Hard, here are the order that Die Hard's going. 1, 3, 2. The other ones don't exist. Hoosiers made me cry. There we go. Dude, it's Tom Hanks. He's everybody's dad. You know what I really I recently I really should rewatch, I should say. I haven't seen Insomnia in a bit, and I feel like I'm so used to watching Robin Williams in movies that like sometimes I forget that he's gone because he's like ever present in my mind. And I feel like I need to watch some Robin Williams movies, like now. I remember Sphere, based on a Crichton book, Dustin Hoffman, and I can't remember who else was in it. Oh, Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman, and somebody else. Crichton book, I think. When I was a kid, when Elliot was yelling at dying E.T., it was sad. Yeah, I mean, that movie is meant for us as kids to feel something, and it did its job for, I think, all of us. I hated the end of Apocalypse 2, just awful. Yeah, but that's the thing. I think there's it's just there might be something generationally, or it's like a Brando thing. It could be a Brando thing. I don't know. What's up, Chris? Yeah. Well, I don't need a live action Spawn movie. I need, like you said, I will take more Keith David Spawn animated, because to me, as good as all of the other non-Batman Bruce Timm animated series that have existed, Spawn is the best comic book adaptation animated series. So good. George Romero? No, George Miller. It was George Miller. Ray Scheider doesn't get props. He should as leading Jaws. I agree. Well, he's overshadowed by Robert Shaw, because Shaw was, he died before anybody else did. But the three of them, it's three leads. And actually, you could put what's her name in it? Ellen Brody, Lorraine Gray. You could almost say that movie is 4 leads and a shark, and that's it. Yeah. Hellraiser 9. Did they make a 9th Hellraiser? Back to the Future is a tough call between the first two. Yeah, I go with the first one, though. But the second one's great. We Big Trouble in Little China and The Thing are both equally awesome. Thing gets the edge, but Kurt Russell wins the entire battle. Best series with at least 10 movies. Yeah, I think that's... No. Actually, no. Star Wars. Sorry. There is no James Bond movie that's better than any of the first 3 Star Warses. Sorry. I said I was sorry. Now, here comes the controversial one, because I'm not a Sean Connery Bond guy. Daniel Craig. Derek, I just watched Sphere the other day, panned hard one. Dude, I remember it getting panned hard. I remember also Congo getting panned hard, but Bad Monkey. I said, stop eating my sesame cake. Delroy Lindo, baby. Godzilla, Marvel, Friday the 13th, Star Wars. And then maybe Marvel. Lawrence Fishburne. I forget what we were. Oh, he's in Sphere. Okay. There you go. You got to vote for Big Trouble. Like, Big Trouble's not a bad movie. I would just put The Thing over it. Oh, it was Liev Schreiber and Sam Jackson. Okay. Event Horizon was Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. Still a terrifying movie and one of the greatest horror movies of my generation. I've never seen On the Waterfront, but that was when he was young, before he was just a fucking piece of shit, apparently. Yes, Val Kilmer. Spawn the animated series is the best way to consume Spawn. 100%. 100%. Secret Window. Is that a Hitchcock? No, that's Rear Window. Secret Window. Not sure. Dude, Big Trouble. What is it? Wait. There we go. Daniel Craig is an android. I still want to see. I want to see Queer, the movie he did with Luca, and I forget the actor's name, but I love Luca. If you guys didn't see Challengers, that was a badass movie last year with best score of the year, and somehow they didn't get nominated for an Oscar, but they won the Globe. Trent and Atticus, come on. Fucking Oscars are a joke. There are 11 Hellraiser movies. The last one was atrocious, where they went into the light. Okay, the last one I watched was Bloodline, or maybe the one after it, and I was like, all right, I'm done. You should consider making a Spielberg fanzine. I buy the shit out of that. That could be fun. I still have to watch the last movie he did, the one about his life story. What's the name of the family? Something with an F. I want to say the Fettermans, but it's not the Fettermans. MCU, I love, yeah. I didn't realize that MCU, but MCU will never, for me, be better than Star Wars. It'll be right below it. But my first love was Star Wars. So Timothy Dalton's great. Yeah, those are the first, I think those are the first Bond movie I saw was The Living Daylights, I think. Or the one that was either before or after it. Do you still pull any new books? Somebody hype for? I'm gonna get the new Youngblood just to try it. I went to the LCS today, picked up the new issue of Moon is Following Us, picked up Bug Wars because Chris recommended it, and it had that beautiful peach cover. And I think I picked up one book. I don't really buy monthlies because I think it's just, I don't find it to be a great way to collect comics. I would rather read and trade in hardcovers. Yeah, that's it. Godzilla Star Wars crossover. Let's fuck. I'm in for it. I don't know how we would pull it off, but I'm in for it. Mecha Godzilla with Godzilla versus Star Wars. The Matrix one, yes, this is a factual statement. Let's frame it up right here. Hold on. This is fact, and you can't disagree with that. The only thing you could say is the Matrix one is brilliant, and the chase scene that they made for another movie is also brilliant. That's it. The highway scene. I could watch that over and over. Yes, I've watched. How about this, Chris? The rooftop scene in Batman Dark Knight Rises, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character goes and talks to the kid at the orphanage on the swing set, was filmed 6 floors below me across the street on 32nd Street. And then when I lived in Astoria in Queens, I came out of my apartment one day to see that they were filming 40 Rock at the diner, or 30 Rock at the diner across the street from my apartment. I've also been in an episode of Kirby Enthusiasm. So yes. Hey, Stella. Oh, that's from On the Waterfront. Did you see the score? I remember that movie. I remember it getting panned. I don't really remember liking it. Yeah, I don't. But I don't remember disliking it. So I just remember its existence. There we go. Factotum. Oh, yeah. Wasn't that the one with Matt Dillon? Dalton did get the shaft. Great in Doom Patrol. That's right. He was great in Doom Patrol. He was great in Hot Fuzz. Yeah. What was it called? The Feldmans? And I'm a bad Jew by not knowing this. Terms of Endearment in Lincoln, Nebraska. There we go. Death Proof, Tarantino, and Glorious Bastards. What's your favorite movie of his 9 movies? You know, Chris, that's like one of my toughest things. My first inclination is to go with Pulp Fiction, because that movie for me, like I went to film school for a year. I wanted to be a director. I saw Reservoir Dogs when it was on VHS. It was one of those things that, like, I ran with a lot of friends that knew the cool movies to watch. Pulp Fiction is my first inclination, but I did get to see The Whole Bloody Affair in theaters, the Kill Bill Whole Bloody Affair. And let me tell you, that as one picture is amazing. Inglourious Bastards is amazing. Hateful Eight. I saw The Roadshow. This might be the hardest question for me to ask about movies. Is my favorite Tarantino. Death Proof is great. Fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's perfect. I agree with this. Who's my favorite Marvel character? Probably Thanos. Oh, yeah, probably Thanos. Or Wolverine. Wolverine was my first favorite superhero as a kid. Though it was completely box to see not much but traffic reality. Wait, what did I miss Chris saying? Oh, I see, about Terms of Endearment. When I went to NYU, they were filming I Am Legend for about a year. I remember when it was parked. Yeah, I remember when they had it all by not Irving Square, down by the, what's that hotel over there? I know what you're talking about. 14th. Yeah, maybe it was Irving Square. That's right. Breaking Bad was filmed in Albuquerque and in New Mexico, and that house is still there, even though they don't want people taking pictures of Walter's house. Yeah. Is the car wash still there too, Derek? I didn't know until many years later that the Matrix is an allegory for the. Yeah, well, they especially a lot of that, and then the one that came out a couple years ago was like an inside joke about how they were treated with all the movie studio stuff, and I was just like, I get it, but they should have just stopped after the first one. They should have. Like I said, the action set piece in the second one, Reloaded, the highway scene is like probably the coolest thing ever done with cars and on a highway. Like, But yeah, those movies didn't need to exist. And I like the Wachowskis. Like, I like a lot of things, the concepts and the stuffs that they try, even if the execution isn't great. Like, what was the show they had on Netflix? Eight. I forget. It was like a number thing. And then Speed Racer, I think, aged well. I think when it came out, it wasn't received well. But I could never finish Cloud Atlas. Fablemans, thank you, Bill. Hello, Mark. Good evening. If you had to make a Mount Rushmore of black and white indies, who's on it? Oh God, that's put me on the spot, making me too. I don't know if I could do that right now. Black and white indies, like creators or books. I'd have to seriously think about that. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I know. I know that there was a lot of that because was Lana was first. I forget who was first, but it happened during the making of the second and third. And I think they're both, like, first of all, their love for comics makes me super happy, and like getting Steve Scroce and Jeff Darrow on the design for Matrix is great choice. Obviously, the Animatrix was, yes, but that's like different, and because it's animated. But yeah, I remember the first time I watched it, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, oh, I can't consume this fast enough, because it was really good. And the Matrix comics that they did were good too. Yeah, there we go. Kazra just said it. Yeah, I liked Speed Racer a lot. I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember watching it when it came out on DVD or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is a lot better than anybody gave it credit for. And we all thought Neo was a Christ figure. I mean, well, he sort of is, but yeah. Sense8, thank you, Chris. I enjoyed that. Like, you know what Sense8 kind of reminds me of? Because I know, like, they didn't get to finish it the way they wanted, and it feels like remember how good Heroes was when it debuted on NBC, and it was like, finally we get this like new thing that's comic superhero stuff, but not based in any of the universes. And then the writer strike happened in the second season, and they fucking just that show just shit the bed quicker than a person on their deathbed. Heroes, because it was so good, and then it was like, oh, I remember what's his name, Peter, played by Milo Ventimiglia. I think it was like season 2, and it was because of the writer strike. His girlfriend gets stranded in like a future or the past. He never goes back to find her. Just left her there. Sense8 was cool, but got canceled, and then quick wrap. Yeah, exactly, Bill. Yeah, seriously. That's a good way to describe it, Andy. Yeah, it's a visual treat. Oh, Andrew, I need to rewatch Tenet. I saw Tenet in the theater, and I was like, what just happened? Like my brains were on the floor, and for no reason, I just haven't seen it since then. I really need to rewatch it. Dude, Iraq. Okay, here we go. Thank you for bringing this movie up. I would just like to state this, and I don't think that this is a hot take. Spider-Verse 2, I think, is the best comic book movie, period. And I think it's the best animated movie I've ever seen, personally. But I've seen Spider-Verse, the second one, 3 times, and I watched it on the plane ride back from, I think it was OAX. And I was like really tired, and I was thinking about it so much, like I was like high tired, like when you're so tired you're actually high. And I realized, like, the way that movie is structured, and like the way that they paid special, like the story is structured, and the way that they develop the characters, I'm like, this is better than any other comic book movie. They did justice. And the fact that the second movie is more of Gwen's movie, and I think, as much as I like Miles in the comics and in the movie, I think Gwen's a better character, and it's just such an amazing movie, and I think it is the best comic book movie, period. That's a great movie. I remember seeing that in the theater, and the design of the Mask of the Phantasm is great, and yeah, it's a great story, and I won't say that I think that is my opinion, but I don't think that that's a bad opinion, nor do I think that that is wrong. No, but I do remember one of the first ones I bought with my own money was ASM 322 or 3, whatever the Cap assassination plot McFarlane cover is. That is one of the first 5 that I bought. Love the dude who paints in future and the dude who nullifies people powers. Oh, we're talking about Sense8. Daredevil, nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Welcome in. I don't think Tenet is a mess. I think Tenet requires multiple viewings to really understand what he was trying to do. But on that, I think you can look at it and say it's messy. Oh, yeah, they did. They killed him. Oh, you were talking about Heroes. Yes, they killed him very quick. It's just like I said, it's my opinion, Tyler, but they're both great movies. Third time is a charm with Tenet. Okay, fair enough. I gotta get back on that. A real Boeing 747 because buying, destroying that. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Agree all the way back to the following. Following is great. Memento's great. I mean, he doesn't make bad movies. He doesn't make bad. Interstellar, I think, is Nolan's best movie. Sometimes I watch Dunkirk and I'm like, yeah, but this is better. It's so hard with him because like the Batman movies are on another planet, but Interstellar's got some of the most emotional, like such an emotional core to it. But Dunkirk, the brilliant thing about Dunkirk, not only did he build all of these fucking crazy IMAX rigs that have never existed before, and not only did he tell a war story in 3 congruent timelines, but the thing that he does, the most unsettling thing that you may notice it, you may have not. Not only do you never see a Nazi in that movie until you see the shadowy figures, you don't really see them in light at the end of the movie, but they never use the word Nazi in the movie. Ever. They are a shadow of a threat. You know what's happening. You know who it is. And it's like the Jaws theory, or Godzilla. The less you see, the more terrifying it is. And you never see anybody in Nazi gear. You never see a Nazi in that movie. It's such an interesting way to do it. Tech 6. Oh, yeah, I have that. A funny story about that, cheese here. My parents brought that book back from Norway or Denmark or something, and I still have it. A Norwegian copy of Tech 600. Yeah, Heroes. Yeah. I got you. Good Will Hunting. How you like them apples? The Batman and the Penguin pretty much blew my tits off. Love both of those movies. Or one movie show. Yeah. Yep. 100%. Oh, yeah. And Oppenheimer. I'm trying to gauge how scarce God of Thunder 2 is 6 in a newsstand. I think they're pretty scarce. I think they are. Those are early 2010 newsstands, like that era, super rare, just like an Ultimate Fallout 4 and stuff of that ilk. Yeah, Denny, I got to speak to him at OAX, and really good guy. Yeah, and a great artist. Darkest Hour and Dunkirk. Dude, I remember watching that Flush. I watched Darkest Hour after I'd seen Dunkirk. And yeah, there's this scene where you could pause that movie and put on Dunkirk and then continue Darkest Hour. And I think I didn't know somebody did a fan edit of it. The Odyssey should be good. Yeah, well, I'm assuming it's some version of an adaptation of Homer's Odyssey, but maybe not. Either way, Nolan doesn't make bad movies. Oh my God. Andrew, we were lucky here in Seattle at the time to have Dunkirk playing in the IMAX at the Science Center in Seattle, and then having Dunkirk playing 70 millimeter at Cinerama. And I bought tickets. I saw it twice in like 3 days, once in IMAX and once in 70 millimeter. Hey, I know a lot of people that are kind of on that same boat, Chris. I will say this, and maybe this may change your mind a little bit on it, because another thing that I don't think I'm special, but I do pay attention to things way too much, and it's a causation of my anxiety. Batman 2022 is the first time a live-action Batman movie has ever had Batman narrating his own story. And the first 15 minutes of that movie sold me on the entire movie because he's narrating his year 2, and we've never had that. And the great thing about Batman comics, and I think it's the best use of the, not even just the thought bubble, thought dialogue stuff, but the narration boxes. That's why Batman is so good, because you're usually, a great Batman story is you're reading his thought process. And as a detective, you want to read the thought process of a detective. So that's why, one of the reasons why I instantly fell in love with that movie, 15 minutes into the movie. JLS is it's extra layer, so cheap CGI. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. The complex math stuff in the published paper. Yeah. Oh, I love Interstellar so much. Independence Day. I'm Roland Emmerich. Godzilla is definitely a shitty guilty pleasure movie, but ID4, let's give it. And Stargate, whew, the man knew how to do good science fiction at a time where we needed big popcorn movies with good science fiction. I've never read Herbert's novels, but I love what Denis Villeneuve has done with those two movies. I haven't seen Dune 2 since the movie theater because the theater experience at IMAX was so jarringly good. It's hard for me to want to watch that movie again at home. And Herbert's from Tacoma. So we have a Dune Park here in Tacoma, maybe 3 miles from where I'm sitting. I go between that, Nolan, and the first 89 Batman. It's hard for me to choose. Yeah, those are rare, especially because most people don't notice at their newsstands because you're not looking at the barcode for a book that was produced in 2010 or whenever that came out, 2009, or I don't remember. It's probably 2012, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. You convinced me to rewatch it. See, Chris, I look, I can only say that's one of the things that really stands out. Like I like oh my God, why can't I remember his name? Why am I forgetting what's his name's name? Good Time. Watch the movie Good Time. Did anybody watch that Dune TV show? Because I didn't even bother. Show some love for Equilibrium, Dark City, and City of Lost Children. Okay, well, Equilibrium I saw once and I really liked it. Dark City is a classic. Alex Garland, his follow-up after The Crow, and that movie, its director's cut is far superior. I've never seen City of Lost Children, and I should, but I've never seen it. I thought that movie was older than I think it is. Is Dune Prophecy the TV show? Equilibrium is the Christian Bale one that I really like that movie. That definitely got under. Well, hey, I'll shout out a movie. Proyas. Oh, it was Proyas. Well, did Garland write it then? Maybe Garland wrote it. Or am I thinking of Proyas and Garland as the same person, but they're not? Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm just wrong. Because Garland wrote 28 Days, 28 Weeks. Oh, okay, so I didn't see Dune Prophecy. Hell yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, I didn't see the TV show. Theatrical cut of Dark City is way better. Maybe I'm confusing the two. Maybe I've seen the director's cut more recently than the theatrical. I don't know. I've watched a lot of movies. But Dark City is a great movie, regardless. And there we go. Ninja Scroll. I remember Vampire Hunter D. The DC spoils. Oh, does it? Okay, maybe then I am. You know what's an interesting director's cut that I should probably revisit because I do love the original? Donnie Darko. I feel like Donnie Darko director's cut spoils that movie in the beginning, or it just spoils that movie. But anyway, a movie if you've never seen, which I think is the greatest action movie in this century, The Raid 2. First one's a great movie. Second one is an exceptional movie. Like absolutely exceptional. If you've never seen The Raid 2, Bernal, I think it's Bernal. God damn, that movie's better than everything else. I saw Layer Cake when it first came to DVD, and I have not seen it since, but I do remember enjoying it. I didn't know Roger Ebert did a commentary on Dark City. Commentaries are a lost thing. You know, they are a beautiful lost thing, a lost art. And God, when I talked about this maybe a couple months ago or a month ago. Sin City has a commentary with Frank and Robert Rodriguez, and you should watch it because it's amazing. What up, Matt? Heroes for Hire Comic Club in the house. Love both the Raid movies. You turned me on. Yeah, the Raid one is great, and there's that controversy where like which script was written first, Dread or the Raid, but they both do it differently, but similarly. But the Raid 2 is like, what if somebody took a movie plot like The Departed, but made it like the fucking craziest action movie, martial arts choreographed movie that's ever existed? Is it Garth Evans or is it Gareth Edwards? One of them directed Rogue One and one of them directed The Raid. There's a scene where he built a rig where the camera goes out of the car, around the car, and back through the car. It's like you got to see it. I stopped watching Guy Ritchie movies after whenever he thought like he married Madonna and then all of his movies were the same movie for like 6 years. I couldn't. I got bored. But I've heard The Gentleman is great. Great movie, great soundtrack. It's the best it's the best song you'll ever listen to, Derek. I've heard that the Gentleman TV series is good. Once again, has Guy Ritchie gotten out of being Guy Ritchie? Can somebody let me know and then I'll watch something? That's the greatest song you'll ever listen to. Slow Horses, I've heard that show is good, the Gary Oldman show. I heard they are remaking Anaconda, and if you don't have Ice Cube's son playing the same character that Ice Cube played, saying, "It stakes out there, it is big," I don't want to see the movie. I hope commentary tracks find a way to survive the steady decline of physical media. I think commentary tracks are gone. I think they've been gone for a while, unfortunately. But they are a great thing that we got to have for 10, 15 years. But, you know, it's funny. I know that they're Pride of Albuquerque, but he's a Portland dude. And James Mercer lives, I think, still in Portland. Dude, Hard Boiled. I remember when I saw Hard Boiled, it was the same friend group that we would share like movies that we were excited to see. And I used to go to the horror conventions in Jersey, the Chiller conventions. So you'd get the bootleg tapes and stuff like that. I remember seeing Hard Boiled before Broken Arrow came out, because that was Woo's first American film, or was Hard Target? No, it was Hard Target. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Chow Yun-Fat and John Woo, that shit was amazing. See, but Rock and Roller came out after Snatch, and I think there was at least one movie after that, and then I clocked out because I did like Rock and Roller. But when you look at Rock and Roller and you look at Snatch and you look at Lock, Stock, they're all the same movie. It's just like Vinnie Jones going, "Oi, I'm gonna fucking kill you," with a bunch of different characters. So Horse is great. Black Doves. Oh, I didn't realize that Kira was in a show. And The Agency, is that the one with Cate Blanchett? Maybe? Am I making that up? Or Fassbender? Yeah, Hard Boiled's a great movie. I still want to see The Substance, and I haven't seen Revenge. Oh, that's not fair. You can't pick the two of... You know, it's funny, Sam. When my friend first gave me a copy of Hard Boiled back in like the early 2000s, I thought it was going to be something having to do with the movie. And obviously it was not, but Jesus Christ, what an amazing book. I can't pick. I'll go with the comic. My Anaconda don't. Unless you get stinks out there this big, you got buns, hon. Oh, yeah. And that's with Gerard Butler, right? What's his name? his son's something with a T. He was great in the NWA movie Straight Outta Compton. That movie was fantastic. Love that movie. But yeah, Hard Boiled the comic or Hard Boiled the movie, not a call I can truly make, really, honestly. Yeah. By the way, I just want to let everybody know to hit the like button. Don't forget that. Okay, agency is Fassbender, Jeffrey Wright, and Richard Gere. Recently, if you guys haven't heard on the Direct Edition podcast, I did. This is why we're talking about movies, because we're talking about comfort movies. I did an episode on comfort movies, which Social Network is one of my comfort movies, and Fincher is probably my favorite post Spielberg director. Like somebody that's career started after Spielberg and Peter Jackson. But if you haven't listened to that episode, please do subscribe to the podcast to check it out. I don't talk about comics as much as I talk about movies and music and interviews and all that stuff. Yeah, I love talking about the movies that I watch when I need, whether it's like I'm working and I want to put something on to just kind of like be there, or something where I'm like not having a great day and I'm like, oh, I can rely on this movie making me forget about whatever's going on. And there's a lot out there right these days to try and forget at the end of the day. Yes, I think it's with a J. I remember that movie. I don't remember much about it though. I do remember being introduced to Jet Li via Lethal Weapon 4 though. And the greatest thing about Lethal Weapon 4 is Chris Rock and Joe Pesci. They fuck you with the cell phones. The one. And then you got to go back. The two. God, I love that scene so much. Did you keep up with any of the DC animated movies? Chris, I didn't. After Killing Joke and what they added in, I was like kind of over it. I did like Long Halloween. And I love the fact that Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, kept doing these roles. And, obviously Conroy passed away, but no, I didn't. I can't say I really did. I tried watching Red Son and fell asleep. Better filmography, Tarantino. Not that Paul Thomas Anderson has a bad filmography, but the reason why it's always going to be Tarantino is because I didn't like Inherent Vice, and that kind of kills it for me. There Will Be Blood and The Master. Not The Master. What was the last one that Daniel Day? Phantom Thread. I think are 10 out of 10 great movies, and There Will Be Blood's probably the best performance of a single performance of all time. And then Paul Dano also gives great performance. But yeah, it's Punch Drunk's great, Boogie Nights is great, but I'll go with Tarantino on that. After all the years of being a steel worker, do you mean? Oh, a steel walker where gravity never loses. I like light stuff. I think you meant steel worker. Chaplin, I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to say there, Marsh. I think I know, and you like Chaplin, but I'm not sure. My favorite year, you sent me that movie. That's a great movie. Fist Legend, Romeo Must Die. I remember those. Okay. Whatever Leo wants, Leo gets. I like Cynthia Rothrock, the Queen of Scorpion Kick. Cynthia Rothrock was hot. She's still alive. Anyone reading any good comics? Yes, we talked about this tonight. Jeremy Hiler just released his Batman Year None in a trade paperback. You got to go get it. www.jeremyhiler.com. Right? Yep, jeremyhiler.com. Daniel Day-Lewis was fantastic in Lincoln. He wasn't fantastic in Lincoln. He was Lincoln. Just like he was, what's his name, and what's his character's name in There Will Be Blood. Recently read Weapon X, and hey, I think it would make a great horror movie. Oh, God. We all want. I mean, we got just a little glimpse of that in whatever X-Men movie that they shoehorn that into. But, dude, get somebody to make that movie in the tone of what Barry Windsor Smith's art looks like. And, oh, But I think they would never do that in live action. But it could look great as an animated movie. Might get away with a lot more too on an animated movie. I've been beating this drum. Comic Tropes Dynamite Space Ghost run has been fantastic. No, is it Steve Rude? Is it Steve Rude? Because if it's not Sam, I'd be surprised, but I'm assuming it is. Dude, I loved Multiverse Madness. Let Sam Raimi be Sam Raimi. Dude, I did watch The Nick. I didn't have to finish it. I watched the first 5 episodes. The problem is, Kazar, I told you. I kept watching that movie while I'm eating dinner, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I'm going to fucking yak because of all the medical stuff. I don't like watching surgeries. I could watch, Evil Dead 2. I could watch The Witch and eat dinner. I could watch bloody and disgusting movies, but you give me surgeries, and I'm like, Fist of Legend is great Jet Li film. The choreography inspiration was, interesting. I don't think I've seen Fist of Legend. What was Tony Jaa's movies? Tony Jaa's incredible. What was the name of those movies? With the elephant? Dynamite SG Run has been great. Michael Cho's cover for 5 is one of my favorite. I love Michael Cho. Oh, Z2 did a Typo Negative anthology. I've got their Weird Al book, which is fantastic. Yeah. It's not the dude, John Lau. Oh, I don't know who John Lau is. Well, Derek, I mean, look where the microphone is. It's right on my. Everybody talks about the Terrifier movies, and I feel like it's just going to be like one of those things where I'm not interested in it because it doesn't. I don't know. People like those movies. I don't know much. There we go. Ong Bak. Those movies were. Was it 2 of them or 3 of them? Huh, interesting. Yeah, my LCS doesn't carry a lot of that kind of stuff, so I don't see it. But it's something. If it's good, I'll pick up the trade. I work the iron. You'd have to walk the beams to work it. Oh, no thanks. Yeah, no thanks on that. I have fear of heights, so you wouldn't get me on one of those steel beams. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. I think we'll cut it in like 10 minutes. I'm having a great time, but I have an interview tomorrow in about 14 hours, and I got to drink some tea because my throat hurts. I've been talking so much. But we'll go a little bit longer. Kung Pao movie, which is what I don't know what movie that is. I do not. Barack told me this, dude. I would love to see that too. Although I will say I really loved WandaVision because it was different. It was extremely different. I'm all into that. Plus, I just like the character. Interesting. If I could have one original piece of comic book art, comic book cover from any artist, unlimited budget. Come on, Chris. This one shouldn't be too hard. Incredible Hulk 340. That's it. Greatest comic book cover. Incredible Hulk 340 is the greatest comic book cover that was put out after Fantastic Four 449. And I'll rest on that. There's no better. It's better than Spider-Man 1. It's better than ASM 300. It's better than ASM 316. But it's not. Maybe I'll pick it up, Sam. Kung Fu Hustle's great movie. That's a unicorn of a movie. All right. Well, sometimes cut it while it's short. Yeah, MCU could do both. That's the thing. They have the ability to do whatever kind of movie they want. I mean, like, look at the first season of What If. That shit's dark. Like, think about how season 1 of What If ended. Doctor Strange goes to destroy the entire multiverse just to bring her back, and then ends up, it's dark. Surf's Up, Loki is a great soundtrack. You know what the greatest movie of all time is, though? Point Break. Fun chat. It's chill. Thank you, Christopher Tropes the third, E5th. By the way, don't forget to follow Comic Tropes. His show also has another channel called Comic Tropes After Dark, where it gets sexy. And he does the Monday show, The Spinner Rack, and he does great interviews. And he's working on a video right now for his regular channel on the Spider-Man manga by Ryoichi Kagami. And I got a little bit of the summarization of stuff that's going on in that book. Oh, man, it's gonna be a great video. I did like Anthony Bourdain. I remember watching him, and then I started watching the Borders, what was it called? Anyway, the Seattle one he did was good, but the guests that he had, his love for Queens of the Stone Age and Lanigan was great. I actually worked an event with him in the Cayman Islands. He was on my flight. I met him. He was, quiet but nice, and I just love everything that he did for humanity. And it's sad because depression can affect anybody, and it doesn't matter. You talked about Robin Williams earlier, and yeah, shit is sad. Kazra, that would be my top 3 for sure. Like if I was to pick a Bernie cover, it would be that. And if I was to pick I don't know, a Kirby cover, it would be FF49. Crime suspense stories, yeah, 22 would be nice to have. But I don't know, like I like that cover. It's great. Would I display that? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to look at that every day. Whereas 340 I would, or House of Secrets 92. Well, I'm glad. I look, I wish I could do this every 2 weeks, but there are times where I just need to take the week off. But if I can keep this going on a consistent basis every 2 weeks in between the sales, I love doing this and you guys hanging out, and it's fun to talk. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Stalker, both great movies. What do you do? That's Speed. That's not Point Break, but it's Keanu. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're gonna close out in just a minute. Best movie of all time, 100%. And who doesn't love Speed? Is it going to snow? I mean, it's supposedly going to snow, but I don't know. Snow ain't nothing but a thing, John. Dude, Johnny Utah. Give me 2. My physics professor used to call me Bodie since I had long hair. That's awesome. I'm not coming back. Look around you, Johnny. I'm not coming back. Vaya con Dios. Interview prep question. Why should we give a shit about you? I love John C. McGinley in that fucking movie, and Gary Busey is just the icing on the cake. But yes, I'm not going to ask the person I'm interviewing tomorrow why we should give a shit about you. Seance to connect with Tony Bourdain in the afterlife for an interview. Let's try it. Let me see. You guys let me know, and then we'll get Kirby on here. We'll get Kirby and Stan Lee. Each ghost, one to my left and one to my right, or one to my right, one to my left. By the way, please think about purchasing a copy of the Many More Faces of Jack Kirby. Hit up my website and shoot me a message. $25 plus shipping for the second volume or for the first, and it's $60 shipped for both. Plus, we're donating a portion of the proceeds for every sale to the Kirby Research Center. Flush, always glad to have you here, and I hope you stick around and take care of yourself, even if you don't, because you're one of the best people out there. Did I see the Johnny Cage movie poster? Did they put out a promo poster for the next Mortal Kombat movie? Listen, the first Mortal Kombat movie, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, is a favorite of mine. I love that movie. Soundtrack, all of it. The one that they came out with a couple years ago was good. It was good. Yeah, I liked it. Doesn't compare to the first one. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Point Break's better. Have a good night, Sam. Appreciate you, brother. Scary abusey. Jesus Christ. Good thing I did not start out asking Comic Tropes that question last night. Yeah. Why should we give a shit about you? Essentials: milk, eggs, and the many faces of Jack Kirby. Yeah, dude. for the price of 2 cartons of eggs, you could have a book that'll last forever. Did anyone else do a double take on Carl Urban? What do you mean? Because I do love Carl Urban, but I don't know what I must have missed what this is. Oh, Butcher Billy. Okay, Carl Urban's playing Johnny Cage. That's pretty awesome. Dude, but he was also, I mean, I remember Carl Urban being Aylmer, you know? That's the first movie that we all knew him from. Was Two Towers. But all right, well, look, everybody, I appreciate you being here tonight. Please hit the like button before you leave. It helps, you know, boost me in the algorithm. Please follow Direct Edition Podcast. It is on Spotify. It is on Apple. It is on YouTube. It's on all the major streaming services. And like I said, I got some really good interviews coming your way for the podcast, and trying to get some really big names. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, he was great as Dr. McCoy. Appreciate you all. Thank you all. Have a great week. Sunday, I'm going to drop a new video on Friday. We're going to get back to the flip through videos this Sunday. Okay. Got another flip through video. And it's with me and Sean, Japan Book Hunter, flipping through the Japanese Venom book, which reprints Amazing Spider-Man 300, and the Sam Keith Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine vs. Venom, and all good stuff. So some great comic content coming to you this weekend. And don't forget to take care of yourself and have a great night. And to my boy, Christopher Tropes, the 75th, I'm going to give a salute to y'all as a homage to Mr. Comic Tropes, Chris Tropes. All right, everybody have a great night.